G'day guys, how are you? Welcome to Teach Together Try. Our learning intention today is to understand integers. It's to understand integers. What are integers? Also, we're going to be learning to locate positive and negative integers on a number line. Okay, that's our learning intention. That's our goal. Let's look at our success criteria. Right, the first part of our success criteria is that we would understand integers are just whole numbers. They're just whole numbers. For example, 1, 4, 26, -7. These are whole numbers that are integers, and they're integers because they don't have a fraction on them, or they don't have a decimal value that comes after them. They're not 1.2, or they're not 3 1/4. They are simply 1 and that's it, or 26 and that's it, or -7 and that's it. No fraction, no decimal amount, they're just whole numbers. They can be positive or negative. Now we're going to look at some negative numbers or negative integers now. And the next part is locating integers, whether they be positive or negative, on number lines. And so we're learning today that, for example, number lines exist and you can locate integers all the way along them. Look, here's 0. We can go up to 1, 2, 3. Here's some integers. And here's some negative integers, which might be new for us. Beneath 0 is -1. And then over here, you've got a space. Oh, I wonder what goes there. There's a space. And then you've got -3 here. You've got, see the minus, the little -3. And so we're here to understand today that, well, -2 would go there. -2 would go there because we're trying to locate integers as well on a number line. Okay, if it doesn't make sense, I hope it makes a bit more sense as we go through the lesson. Okay, let's go. Let's have a look. Hey, just something to think about before we go on. Why do we have negative integers or numbers? Why do we have negative integers or numbers? Well, there's a few different reasons. First of all, the temperature, right? The temperature doesn't stop at 0 degrees Celsius in Australia. That's actually where water freezes, but it can get even colder. There are some parts of Australia that are -5 degrees Celsius, which is pretty cold. That's actually colder than the level at which water freezes. There are some parts of the world where it's actually -30 degrees Celsius. Some parts of space are even colder. So we need to understand that temperature doesn't stop at 0, it keeps getting lower and lower. It goes below 0, which is starting to get really cold. Sometimes you have money in the bank. And you might have $50 in the bank and you might take out, let's say, $51 by accident. And that does happen. Sometimes you take out too much money out of the bank. You take out more money than you have. So if you accidentally go to the bank and take out, if you've got $50 in the bank and you take out $51, and it does happen sometimes, that means your bank balance is going to be, it won't be $0. Even worse, it'll be -$1. -$1. You actually owe the bank money. Okay, moving on. That's a brief example of how we use negative numbers in real life, or negative integers. Okay, first things first, write this down. Integers are positive or negative whole numbers. They do not have a fraction or decimal amount attached. For example, (26), 4, -100. Are all examples of integers. Integers. Right, Whereas something like, 26.5 or 3 1/4 or -2 1/5. They've got a decimal attached or a fraction attached. They are not integers. Okay, I hope that makes sense. They are not integers. They've got decimals attached or they've got a fraction attached. Whereas these numbers over here are just plain simple whole numbers. Look, 26, 4, -100. Remember, integers can be negative or positive. Right, welcome to my number line. Now, I know you've probably seen number lines before, and I'm pretty sure you can sort of work out that it starts at 0 and then goes up by 1, doesn't it? So 1 goes there, and then 2 goes there, and then 3 goes there, and then 4 goes there. Right? I think you have a handle of that. But I wonder if you've understood, or I wonder if you know that there are actually numbers below 0, and they keep on going below 0, and they go all the way to infinity. They never stop. Here's a little taste of those numbers. So you have 0, and then below 0 is -1. And then below that is -2. And then below that is -3. And then below that is -4. And then -5, -6, -7, it just keeps on going. It never stops. You go to -100, then you go to -1,000, you go to -100,000, you go to -1,000,000. It never stops. So, welcome to the world of positive and negative numbers. Welcome to the world of positive and negative numbers. Now, we're really going to be looking at negative numbers today, so I'm sort of going to leave this bit of the chart over there, the number line. I'm not going to mess around with that too much. But with the negative numbers, let's find where some go. For example, I'm going to place -7 on here. I'm just going to show you where -7 would go, and then you're going to do some yourself, right? So if you had to place -7 on this number line, this is what you'd do. Watch. You'd go, well, that's 0, yeah? You'd go -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, or -7. People sometimes call it -7. And that's where -7 would go, right? So I've showed you how you can place negative numbers on the number line. And that makes sense, doesn't it? -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. So I got that right. Hooray. Hey, let's do one together. Can you please place, right, for me, you might want to draw the number line down. I expect that you should actually draw this number line down and place -4. Show me where -4 goes. In fact, let's do it together. Where does -4 go? Let's have a go together. Okay, I hope you've drawn the number line down. You will need to. You'll need to draw it down. So I hope you've done that. Okay, now let me give you a hint. That's -1. That's -2. Can you work out where -4 is going to be? Have a go. Okay, I hope you've gone -1, -2, -3, -4 would go there. Thanks very much. You know what? I would like you to fill in the rest of that number line by yourself. Can you fill in the -1? Can you fill in the -2? Can you fill in the -3? You'll notice the negative numbers go to the left, don't they? They move towards the left, whereas the positive numbers go towards the right. They move towards the right. The positive numbers go that way, the negative numbers go this way. See if you can complete that chart for me. Go on, have a go. If you're in my class, I want to see it. Okay, we're back. you should have done this. I hope you went like this. I hope you answered in this way. -1, -2, -3. We've already got the -4 there, don't we? Right, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8. And of course, that was the end. Okay? Let's do another little exercise. Okay, here we go. Sometimes we come across number lines that well, obviously they started at 0, but the 0 is not necessarily shown. So here we find ourselves starting at the number line at -18, and then it goes to -19, then it goes to -20, -21, -22, -23. The next one will be -24. And it will just keep going. So I guess I'm preparing you that sometimes in maths the 0 isn't always there. We don't always get to see where that nice safe 0 is. We might jump onto a random spot of the number line, and this random spot of the number line starts at -18. So I wonder if you can draw this number line down in your book, and I wonder if you can actually complete it. Let me help you. There's -24. Here comes -25. Finish off these for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's 5 more spots. Can you please finish them off? Okay, I hope you paused me, and I hope you finished it off, and I hope you went -26, -27, -28, -29, and -30. Okay, I hope that makes some sense. I hope that's what you got. Sometimes you'll see number lines like this. Look, this one's starting at -10. -10 goes to -20, goes to -30, goes to -35, goes to -40. Hang on, what about all the bits in between? Well, they're still there. There's still -11, -12, -13. They're just not necessarily marked down. You might get a question like this. What's the value of the dot? Right? But there's no number there, so how can you tell? Well, look, I know it's not a perfect drawing, but this dot is exactly halfway between -10 and -20 on the number line. It's exactly halfway. So I'm telling you right now, exactly halfway between -10 and -20 is -15. That's exactly halfway. Okay? Let's do the next one. What's going to be the value of this dot? Exactly halfway between -30 and -20. What about this? What's the exact halfway between -30 and -20? It's going to be negative. Well, have a go. You write it down. You copy this down. You write it down. You have a go. Right, I wonder if you got -25. Okay? What about this one? All the way up here. Let's jump ahead. What's the exact halfway point there? That dot is halfway between... Oh, I'm gone. Right. That dot is halfway between -40 and Sorry, I've started again. I made a mistake. This dot is halfway between -50 and -40. It's halfway between -50 and -40. So, what's the value going to be? You have a go by yourself. Right, I hope that you identified it as -45. Here's another one, look. This goes -2, -4, -6, -8. What if you were asked this question? What's between the -2 and the -4? What's the value between the -2 and the -4? See if you can work it out. I wonder if you worked out it's actually -3. What about the value between -8 and -6? See if you can work it out. It's actually -7. Okay guys, I hope that's been somewhat helpful. We've been looking at what integers are. We've looked at some positive integers on the number line, and we have looked at some negative integers on the number line. And just remember, integers, particularly, well, in fact, all integers, they go on forever. We never run out of negative numbers. We go all the way to infinity, which means it never ends. Okay, I hope that's been somewhat helpful. See you later.